was born ready.
All right. In that case, welcome. God damn it, Joseph.
I did not think you were going to start it like a...
Well, I'm trying to start it. Welcome to the Valley Media Club.
How's it going, everybody?
Oh, we're doing good, man. How are you doing? Oh, you weren't asking me. Yeah, how we doing out there, you beautiful folk?
Fuck you.
This is the show where I sound like I said you beautiful fuck. Folk. This is the show where we suggest either a movie or some form of media to each other, and every week we watch that thing, come on back, and we talk about that thing on this here thing.
Yes, we do.
Couldn't have described that better if I tried.
Not even possible.
Not nearly impossible. And last week, you suggested a movie by the name of...
Get Rich or Die Tryin'.
Nailed it. Our initial ratings for Get Rich or Die Tryin', 3, 2, 1. 6 out of 10.
9.
9. All right. Okay. I will never... Yeah, I will. I will question people's ratings. Of course I will. I'm a human being. Fair. I'm a human being. What can I do? That's what we do. That's why we have this show, is because we want people to react to our ratings.
Yes, absolutely.
So of course, I'm going to react to your rating. I'm going to need some defense for this. Beyond nostalgia. Is this purely a nostalgia 9 out of 10? Or do you think if you've never seen this movie, you would give it a 9 out of 10 today?
Okay, so there's 3 elements that I think... I think these were things really done well. And maybe this one is a little bit of a cop-out, but like, I think the soundtrack for the movie is fantastic. And not just like, oh, it's a movie where I'm putting my songs in it. It's like, these songs make sense. Like, the song is talking kind of about the situation through the movie. And
it's classified
even the way he
as
goes
a musical
about working...
on IMDb. Sorry, did you see that?
Is it really?
Yeah, it's not. It's not by any means.
Oh, I was like, what?
But for some reason, it's classified as a musical.
In case you're wondering, it is not. Like, it's not even like they're never busting out into the song and dance. There's no jazz hands.
It would have been great if they did during a robbery.
It just became a musical.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to side-rail you. I just, yeah.
So I think the soundtrack was fantastic. I actually thought the acting was really well done. There's some great actors in this movie, and even 50 Cent. There's like one scene where, I'm sure we'll get into it later, but he's getting into an argument with his girl, and there's just like this single teardrop that kind of comes down, and his mouth is wired shut. And I was just like, oh shit, I thought that was pretty well done.
All right, okay, so I know we're not at that scene yet, and that scene is very far into the movie, so we'll get there when we get there. And it's okay. I'd preface this by saying I did not hate this movie. I actually walked out of it thinking like, whoa, I enjoyed this way more than I thought I was going to like this movie. Saying that, though, it's funny that you consider his best scene the scene in which he was forced not to talk. Because that is when he does his best acting. For some reason, he does not emote like well at all. And I'll be honest, even during the scenes where he's rapping, and that's kind of the part that like really threw me off. Okay, this is my biggest thing about this movie that knocks it down. All right, because I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I gotta get your opinion on this part of it. Is that the movie made it feel like he doesn't give a fuck about rapping at the end of the day. And like, rapping became like an ends to a mean that he had to do because he was in prison and couldn't, and like realized like, oh, this is a way of telling the truth, but it's not something he was like passionate about. Like, they had one scene when he was a little kid where he does like the rapping to the girl, but it's never happens again. And then there's one part where he kind of does it, and then he's like, yeah, after 3 hours of trying to be a rapper, I said, fuck that, and I deal drugs again. And it's like, okay, what, like, never during 8 Mile, for example, is there a moment where Eminem is like, nah, fuck rapping. Like, I don't even want to rap. Like, what's the point of rapping? Like, rapping is fucking dumb. You know, like, no, like, this whole movie, is there a moment where he's like, rapping is my passion? Ever.
Bro, I literally think you have that entirely backwards. And here's partially why. At the end of 8 Mile, he walks away from rapping because the 8 Mile has things that are like loosely based on his life.
Yeah.
But at the end, he wins the rap battle, and then he's like, "Oh, it's back to work for me." And in this, so it started off as a kid, and I remember that scene, and I thought it was funny, but I thought it was more of I need to spend more time doing something that's going to make me money right now than doing this. And then,
the drugs thing.
I think the idea. Yeah, the drugs thing.
Oh, okay.
I think the concept of while he was in jail, he had things taken from him, and even his actions of him like, I don't want to go back after him by like actually killing the guy. I'm gonna kill him on the track. I think it was finding what actually meant the most to him was the one thing that he still had with him, and seeing how people reacted to it of being like, oh, I can do this. And then I think once we got to the part where he was rapping and he's like, oh, you know, I don't like how I sound. She's like, no, it sounds good. There's more pain in it. Like, I think his thing is he was jaded by his life. And even he said, like, from Majestic, the kind of bad guy of the movie, love will get you killed. You know, that expression of emotion. And he became a very closed off person.
Is that supposed to be Preem, by the way? I'm trying to make correlations to real rappers, and I feel like Dangerous is Ja Rule, right?
So a lot of people thought that, although somebody was mentioning like the timeline of when that beef happened and when his rise was. And I will say, looking at, like, trying to find further into this, I saw something, I don't remember which article it was, but they said like 90% of this is 50 Cent's life. 10% of that, things like they kind of allude to was Majestic his father, was it that other guy?
Oh, sorry. I saw that 50 Cent said it's like 75%. That was a quote I saw from 50 Cent.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. So there's a good portion of this, like way more than I would say 8 Mile. 8 Mile is not meant to be like a 1-for-1 of Eminem's life. This is a lot closer, but the directors did do things to add kind of emphasis on.
I don't have any proof of that though. I've been trying to find.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of interviews I was finding online when I was searching that anyone said, oh, these are the things that, you know, we took a little bit more creative freedom on.
Yeah, but that's what makes me so suspicious about it. And like, again, not in a bad way. Not that I'm saying like there's nothing like nefarious or like it's not or anything, but in the way of like in the same way 8 Mile like exaggerated like 60% of Marshall Mathers' life.
It's a lot different in terms of
I feel like this movie may have done that, but we don't know enough about 50 Cent's upbringing to really compare it to.
I wonder if he has a book about his like an autobiography. Oh, he does. Yeah, he's multiple.
Well, because that's the thing that seems a little weird. Is this feels like because this came out after 8 Mile, and it feels like executives going
rags to riches story.
Yeah, are you on the IMDb page for the movie right now?
I am now. It's crazy. I didn't know till after the movie that IMDb critics gave it a 17%.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Or
Jesus
that
Christ.
It has a 17. Yeah, it has a 17%.
I thought it had like
this
a 6.6.
This was considered a flop apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of understand that, though. I mean, it's not terrible. That's the thing. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of these, like, overreacting critics are making it seem. But can you click on the writer's name for me and just go to his IMDb page?
Yep.
Okay, we brought this up during the Soul Plane thing, and I hate doing this because, again, I'm white as fuck, dude. So I got no place taking this kind of stance, right? But when you have a white writer and a white director making a movie about 50 Cent's life, that just seems weird, right? Like, shouldn't it have been written by 50 Cent? Because, like, again, I can't find anything about the actual backstory of 50 Cent's rise up until this point, other than him using mixtapes to gain his rise. Like, I watched a really interesting video about how, like, he basically used mixtapes as a way to bully other hip hop artists into being like,
Yep.
it's kind of almost Tyga's approach. Tyga stole 50 Cent's approach.
Yeah,
and
Lil
just
Wayne's
bullied them.
very famous for that.
Lil Wayne as well. Exactly. Yeah. Like they all took those notes from 50 Cent. He literally started that movement in New York of being like, let's make
Actually,
mixtapes instead of demos.
I think Lil Wayne started rapping before 50.
Like not mixtapes.
Lil Wayne's
though,
been rapping since he was like in the studio at 12 years old.
but making mixtapes? Like not demos, mixtapes. Because I
Well,
like
a
this was like
lot
a whole
of-
thing I had watched. I don't know. I could be wrong. This was like a documentary I watched or whatever. So
Oh, okay.
it could be wrong. But
I may be interested.
which again should have been something that was in the movie. Like the movie didn't give a fuck about music. Maybe that's what bothered me. It didn't care about music at all. Like he didn't have moments where he takes a moment from his life and then like writes it in a notebook. Like yes, we see him later be in a booth and spit something that kind of relates to something he said before, but there's never like an inciting moment where you see him realize this could be a song. This could be this. Like I just felt like there's such two separate stories, that there's a gangster story being told and then there's a rapper story being told, and they're like totally separate at the end of the day. Because I don't know. It's very, it felt conflicted to me. Very strange.
I do feel like this was more of a build-up to how he got to his career. Because like in this, it's not like, oh, this is when I blew up because, you know, I had met, you know, Eminem and Dre. This was a lot more about like the come up.
Which I wish we would have seen more of that music, which again, you're right. It's meant to be like a gangster mafia movie. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
And I might be wrong. I don't know enough about that life, but knowing who wrote it and the director and all these things, it kind of feels like a Hollywood understanding of what that life would be like lower class black culture in the ghetto. Like what would be living in that life be like? I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't feel like genuine. I could be wrong. I don't know. You know what I mean? But it also just kind of feels like a movie where it's like they have those moments where 50 Cent just kind of like brags about being a gangster, but never really like learns what that means or like what. And like I feel like usually like mafia movies or things like that, when you have the braggadocious character who's like, oh yeah, I'm the fucking mafioso, I'm the guy, he usually learns a lesson by the end of the movie that's like, hey, this isn't a thing to brag about. We don't want to be gangsters. We are gangsters, you know? And it felt like this movie was trying to be like, no, we want to be gangsters. And it's like, what? Like, I mean,
kind of, but again, at the end, once he starts doing music, he stops that gangster lifestyle. He's not selling drugs anymore.
No.
He is focused on doing the rap work. Again, even his beef, he's like, again, because the guy hands him the gun, he goes, no, I'm not going to do not going to do it that way. Yeah. And at the end, he fights Majestic, but then he walks out to the stage to perform. And I think that's to show this is him finally finding his path.
Yeah, I guess, okay, as like a fictional story, right? I think it works. Like I said, I gave it a 6 out of 10. That's pretty forgiving for me. In my opinion.
Yeah, no, I would say that's like a B plus for you.
Yeah, yeah. But no, it's a somewhat well crafted movie, and it has its own logic, if that makes sense. Because the fact that this fucking like drug dealing mafioso by the end of the movie, Majestic, is somehow threatened by a diss rap is fucking hilarious. It's comical. Like what? Like, could you imagine someone coming out with a diss track about Al Capone and then it somehow ruining Al Capone's career? Like it's silly. It's actually kind of silly when you think about the like yes, I understand that beef culture in hip hop is real, but when you bring that into actual like gang wars and drug wars, dude, shut up. Your rap song is not gonna stop the dude who owns New York City.
I think it was a pride thing, because and Majestic even says, if you do this, you'll ruin me. 50 Cent had knowledge on what Majestic was doing and was using music to pretty much blast his secrets.
Yeah.
And not just that, embarrassing his artist by taking shots. Like he was, I'm going to tear you down emotionally as a person. And it's funny because 50 Cent is really good at getting people, getting under people's skin. Like it's interesting how like that is one of his skills. See, that was the message, Tyler.
That was the point. It was to get me. I don't think 50 Cent is a great actor. I think what they did well in this movie was surround him with really good actors. And
there was some like, is it Terrence Howard?
Yes. Is that the uncle?
No. Oh wait, maybe that is the uncle.
No, I'm confused. Hold on. Sorry.
Wait. The guy that becomes his manager.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, Terrence Howard. Bama.
Not uncle. Bama. Great. Okay. That first scene. Can I just say that I think that the first scene should be cut out of the movie, and it should start when he's just a kid. The end, I think you should agree with me, because I'm going to use your own words against you, sir, Mr. 9 out of 10. I don't like when movies tell me what's going to happen at the end. This movie literally starts.
That's like 70% in.
No, don't give me that shit. This movie starts with the 90 percentile ending and then pulls you back to the beginning.
And to be fair,
and you love it.
It's okay. I was gonna say because they don't really show the part where. Well, no, they kind of do get him shot. It's 50 Cent's story.
Flashes.
You know he gets shot.
You know
so
he's not
going to
die.
Start with the thing that everyone knows.
Yeah, but you complained about this in Tick Tick Boom. And that's a story about someone who actually exists.
Before watching it, I didn't know it was about somebody's life. That
I don't know. I will say
50
that
because afterwards,
I'm just kidding.
Dude, okay. So one of the funniest things you said last week when we were talking about movies, I have to bring this up, was you were like, "Wait, is 50 Cent in that?" And I was like, "What?" Because I'm like, it's literally about his life.
It's the name of his album. Yeah,
you at the moment were thinking, I was like, yeah, 50 Cent's in that.
Yeah, no, listen, 50 Cent is actually kind of one of those weird blind spots in my rap history. Like, I genuinely, like, I know Indie Club, I know Window Shopper, I know a few of those, but I don't know, like, really anything about this man's career, you know, like, so, again, I'm not trying to make that excuse of like, man, I went into this movie, I didn't know anything about him. Like, I do know about 50 Cent. It's just interesting thinking, like, watching this movie, I was like, wow, I can't even hum a 50 Cent song in my head right now. And if I was to hum a 50 Cent song, it would be a G-Unit song. So it's like, I have more of an association with G-Unit and Dre than I do like 50 Cent as a singular person.
You know what I really like too? I made and I don't know if this was intentional, but 50 Cent is an incredible writer. So for his music, so if it was, then I think it was genius. One of the notes I actually had in that beginning scene was, "Dang, that's pretty bold, you guys." Because I was like,
I haven't read that.
It's been a while. I've watched this a bunch of times, but it's been a while. I was like, oh, they're robbing the place without masks on. Hold on.
It does make sense though later in the movie. But go on. Sorry.
Yes, and not just that. In one of the songs, it might be When It Rains in Port. Yeah, I think it's When It Rains at Ports, which is one of my like top 3, I think, favorite 50 Cent songs. He says, "No ski masks, they know who I is." So he kind of references also like, I'm not gonna rob with the ski mask, and I'm like, if that was intentional, that's I like that detail.
My first note is no masks.
COVID.
But later in the movie, they don't outright say it, but I assume the implication is that they're basically like throwing Majestic under the bus by not wearing masks because they know they work for Majestic, or assume that they work, because they don't know they had a falling out, the Colombians. So if they see their faces, they'll assume that they're throwing Majestic under the bus. So it doesn't really matter if they wear masks because they're going to come after the main guy. You know what I mean?
Oh.
So it actually kind of works at the end. I don't know if that was on purpose. Maybe I'm giving an excuse to the movie that wasn't really there, but it kind of works in that way because the Colombians will come after him, not them.
Interesting. See, I had thought it was just like everyone knew they weren't going to the cops. And I mean, they even made that clear when they brought the guy in for questioning. He goes, I've never seen him before, where they're not doing it because they already know. It's almost
they're
like
all criminals. They're not.
I'm not afraid of you. Yeah, nobody's going to the cops, so we're gonna kind of just do this back and forth. But interesting. Yeah. I hadn't thought about it that way.
Okay, I do have a positive note, and that's funny. We haven't gone over any notes yet. I love it, but hey, this is great. I love that
we're still talking about the movie. At least we're on topic.
No, we're doing great. I did really like the detail of the intro, which could not have been a white comment. This was someone like 50 on set being like, it's the base of the mirrors matching up with the soundtrack.
Oh, dude, that looks
amazing.
So good.
Like during the intro scene where you're seeing the titles.
It's shaking. I was like, oh, the rattle on that.
And it's the perfect like doon, doon, doof, doon, doof, and you hear that perfect like, oh yeah. That detail, because any other like movie that doesn't really care about that, they would just have the window shake, but it wouldn't match with the background song.
Yeah, dude, no, it's diegetic. Like, they were probably actually playing that song in that scene to get that.
For a second, I thought this might have been a musical because they were mouthing the song as it was playing, and I was like, is this song gonna play into the scene? Like, are they gonna start like mouthing the song as they're like, which I would love to see. Like, okay, I'm being honest. If someone made a genuine, heartfelt, like, and I'm not talking Hamilton rap musical, but like an
actual its own story.
Yeah, its own story. But then the music wasn't based in like theatrical rap. It was like actual like genuine rap music, you know. And like to watch a movie like that would be fucking, I was almost like, is this about to be something I've never seen before? Like I thought he was about to be rapping while he's shooting people in a fucking thing and like dancing with someone. I was like, yo, this is gonna be awesome, you know. And then I was like, no, that's not really what this is, and that's fine, it's fine. But I was like, man,
they're just singing to like the songs he's like trying to make and stuff.
I was like, I need that in my life now. But yeah, so I thought that the friend, Bama, he acted way too erratic in that first scene. They do kind of make sense of it as you learn who his character is later in the movie a little bit, but their interactions made no sense where he's just like, hey, calm down. And he's like, calm down. I loved you, man. I've always loved you. You never took me seriously. Why are you going to do this right now? And it's like, what the fuck? You're in the middle of a robbery. Like, fucking chill. Like, what is happening right
Although
now?
I will say, he was always like that. I mean, from the scene where the guy fidgeted in the back, he even jumped into a fight, like, in the shower scene. Like, he's always, like, ready to go.
That's why I think that first scene should have been, like, cut out. Like, just start it at the childhood. Because I love that childhood. Like, the kid who plays him. Yeah. Kid, great actor. Incredible. And yeah, there was just something about that initial setup that felt like, it's funny. It's almost how you feel about movies. That's like, felt like a cheap way to get me invested. It's like, it's like, oh, well, what's going to happen at the end of this? It's like, oh, I don't really care anymore. I kind of want to just know about the story. And after it gets like an hour into the movie, it doesn't care about it either. Because at a certain point, I was like, are we going to get back to the robbery? Like, how far into this fucking movie are we going to go until we get back to this robbery? Because there's an entire rise and fall all before we even get back to this robbery.
Oh, I did think the scene where, oh no, one of the early lines that I thought was funny was like, if Tupac wasn't dead, Deuce's rapping would have killed him. When he was talking about his friends rapping.
Yeah, that did also put a time frame for it too, because I was like, oh shit, Tupac's dead. Like I couldn't, because I always forget like what year Tupac died in terms of like hip hop history and shit. And I'm like, oh shit.
I think it was 93, 92.
That sounds about right.
Now I gotta look it up.
I feel like
96.
Oh, okay. 96. I feel like there's parts of this movie that if it was boiled down to a coming of age story about like a kid who has to sell drugs on the streets to make ends meet, I think there's a really good movie in there. But it's almost like by forcing this 50 Cent storyline into it, it starts to lose me a little bit. I really like the one line. Like there's certain motifs and things that I really enjoy. Like at the beginning, like there's a line actually it's 50 Cent saying it, but it's from the perspective of the younger.
Of him as a kid, yeah.
He says, I knew my mom sold drugs, but it didn't mean anything to me besides good sneakers and school clothes. That's such an interesting take because you never really hear about the child's perspective of a drug dealing parent. Like you might just assume like the child has an awful childhood. Oh, their parent deals drugs, you know. But to the kid, it might just be like, I get cool clothes every once in a while.
I need. I have a roof over my head.
I get video games. Like you don't know what. So that perspective, it was like, whoa, that's cool. Like enough to note it down, but it doesn't really lean into that more.
And I think the scene where at one point Majestic gets mad at 50 Cent because he decided to take things in his own hands. His friend gets shot, so he decides, I'm going to get back at the guy who shot my friend. And so he gets sent to jail. While in jail, that's when there is like the fight in the shower where he's getting jumped by people who are part of the opposition. And
the Colombians,
he gets thrown in. They're beefing with the Colombians. He gets thrown in solitary confinement, and one of the guards slips him a razor blade. And he even says, they wanted me to end my life. And that's where the tool that they wanted to use to end his life became what gave him a new one. And he was writing music on the wall with that. And that was another thing where I'm like, I do like, and I felt like that was kind of a powerful scene of, I'm going to take this thing that they wanted me to end my life and then create a new one.
Okay, I do really like that metaphor. I think what makes me not connect with it or feel something for it is I never felt like he wanted to kill himself. Like he says, I thought about it. But like I never got the feeling leading up to this point that he's in such a mental turmoil that he would actually take his own life. I like that, but it didn't make me feel anything. And it might have just been his acting. Like, I'll be honest, like he's not, it's a little stilted. It's a little dry. I didn't get that like emotion from it.
And I wonder too if we think of Eminem, like there's really emotional raps where he's yelling, he's getting like really angry, he's getting really soft, in terms of like the tone. 50, like in his beefs, in his party songs, and not to say like, oh, he's just monotone, but he just has like this, I'm a solid rock. Like, I can't be shaken. And I wonder if...
That's a way to put it.
He was trying to show like, I've never let how I feel come out. Which again is why once we get like that tear, it's like the first time that he gets like really emotional in a situation.
Okay, so this is why the movie confuses me a little bit. It never shows that side of him. It like
right
in the booth, he just always looks bored. Like it always looks so bored. Like, okay, we don't have a very popular podcast. Fuck it, I'm just gonna say it. If anybody was to watch this movie, oh my god.
I don't know, Tyler. I think the good Lord is telling you to not make whatever comment you're about to make.
If anybody was to watch this movie and not know who 50 Cent was, they might be baffled at how this man had a successful career. I'm being 100% honest. He has no charisma. He has no energy. When he's rapping in the booth and we're supposed to be convinced that he's like the greatest thing ever, he's just kind of like, and then I pull up and then I'm like this and then I get it and then I'm like that. And it's like, what the fuck? But then when the camera pulls away from the booth and we get like a shot of the sky, we hear him going, aha, yeah, try to come at me. Let me see you on the streets, Majestic. That's right. And it's really like aggressive and and it's like, where the fuck is, what? He's not doing that on camera. 50 clearly has like a very like low key thing.
Mellow.
Yeah, but when he's in the booth alone, he must have some kind of energy because you can hear it in his voice.
I see. He didn't feel like he was animated enough in displaying how he felt in situations.
Yeah, and like you said, maybe it was supposed to convey that he wasn't there yet, especially earlier in the movie. Like, he just wasn't comfortable in the booth.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's the music part that just like feels so weird to me. Where it's like it didn't feel like they cared about it. I don't know. Okay, yeah, the car thing. So let's talk about him getting the new car. He uses his drug money to get a nice car, right? Okay. This is the perfect point in the movie where the gangster learns that being a gangster isn't that great, right? Or it should be. Right? Because I thought the way that they keep talking about this car and everyone's pointing it out, I thought it was going to become a motif where it's like, it's the thing that makes him the pariah, or like it's an easy target. You know, police are like, well, why the fuck does this guy driving around the hood have a Mercedes?
Yeah.
He gets pulled over. Now they're asking him, where's his license? Okay, why do you have drugs on you? You know, like, it's so obvious that, like, why, like, this car seems like such a terrible idea. And they keep almost kind of, like, even his friends are like, oh shit, look at that. Oh yeah, you're such a big man now, huh? You got a nice car. And I was waiting for the reveal that the car was a bad idea. Nope. It's just awesome. It's just a cool car.
I'll say, if this was not based on his life, maybe that was something where it was like it for him, because again, it's obviously a status symbol, and maybe that's really all ended up becoming in his life story, because I definitely see how that could have become its own entire situation. The Kristoff's gun,
McConaughey's.
but because McConaughey's gun, but because it was again, from at least two different things that we've read, a mostly true story about his life. Maybe they were trying to minimalize on how many, because again, that would have become a significant part of the movie, because that could have been when he gets thrown to jail.
It just felt hollow, because it's like, it's supposed to be the moment where it's the big, like you said, it's the status symbol. It's where he like feels like he accomplished something, but maybe it's just like, again, as a fictional story, like I said, it works. But when you relate it to reality, you can't help but think like, well, that's such a hollow victory. Like, you just wasted money on a car that you could have used to like get out, or like do it like, and maybe the car is the symbol for getting out, but he didn't get out. He's still in it with the car. So it's like, it just felt like a miscommunication of like what the car should symbolize. Like, does the car symbolize freedom? Because if it symbolizes freedom, he should be out of it. If it symbolizes status, well, then he should have moved up in some kind of status. But instead, he goes to jail almost immediately after he gets the car. So it's like, but he doesn't go to jail for the reason of the car. So it's
right.
Yeah, I don't know. As like a movie plot point, it felt like
they could have used that for a bigger. Yeah, again,
what's the point?
Yeah, I definitely agree. If this was an entirely fictional movie, that car should have been part of the downfall as his the thing he's been trying to get. Yeah.
And again, I don't hate that, because that's still a good like motive for a character. Like, a lot of people, like I had a coworker even at Maverick who told me that the second he came into money, like the second he had money from his family's like will and all this stuff, he rented what was it, like a McLaren S or something for like $50,000 a day, just so he could drive it around. And it like now he regrets it, and he was just like, that's the dumbest decision I ever made. But for me, it was like freedom. It was the status symbol. It was like, this is the car I always dreamed of driving. But it was hollow. So it's like, that's all I could think about when I was watching this. I was just like, man, like you didn't do anything. You know, like you just fed into the system. You perpetuated the same system you're trying to get out of.
And I guess you could still say like, you know, the fact that it doesn't give him the freedom at the end of the day, that it was a status symbol that everyone saw was like, oh, that's cool. He got what he wanted out of it, but that still wasn't enough to change his life. It took something like music. Yeah,
they just didn't make it enough of like a clear symbol in the movie where it's like if he had crashed it, or like, because I kept waiting for that, because he kept doing the thing where he was like looking up at the rear view mirror while he was talking, and then his friend, like he just leaves it parked in the middle of the road, and his friend is like high, and he's like, all right, I'll drive it. And I'm like waiting for the moment that he's gonna crash the car and gonna ruin his life. Never happens, but it's fine. No. I mean, it's whatever. So I did have one kind of just a funny note. This isn't even about the movie. I mean, it is about the movie, but it's just
okay.
Did you notice the part where him and the girl that he used to like, Sherry?
Was it Cherie?
Cherie? Yeah, Cherie. They're in the apartment after they come back, which, by the way, the apartment's like disgusting and a disgrace. And
which I like how he even mentioned, she's like, "Oh, I see why you didn't want to turn the lights on." Like,
which for some reason she's fine with that. Which, I mean, we can get into why she would ever want to get back with this guy after she clearly has started a like better life. Like, I don't. We'll talk about this in a minute.
Can we talk about one of my favorite lines and something that I think I hold true to my heart?
Okay.
Listen, when I'm right, I'm right. And when I'm wrong, I'm still right, because I could have been wrong.
Yeah. Dude, and I may have been wrong in this situation, but I'm still right. Yeah.
Because I could have. And then I like how 50 Cent's just like, yeah, make that make sense. Say that again. So if I'm wrong, hold on.
Yeah, no. I know exactly the part you're talking about. He says like, because sometimes if I'm wrong, I know I'm right, but I know I might be wrong. But I'm still right because I know I'm wrong.
It's just such a good fucking line.
And then he's like, and I may be wrong in this moment, but I'm still right.
Yeah, it's like when I'm right, I'm right. When I'm wrong, I could have been right. So I'm still right because I could have been wrong, you know? And I'm sorry because I could be wrong right now.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. But if I'm right, like...
Yeah, but I'm right. Yeah. That does help establish the character trait of him just being neurotic and fucking crazy.
Yeah, like I don't trust anything or anyone other than 50 Cent.
Yeah, clearly. All right, let's see what other notes I have here.
That's like my favorite interaction of the whole movie is just them two.
That car scene was pretty great. The fact that there's someone called Majestic and someone called Justice threw me off a little bit. Not gonna lie. I confused them because at some point Majestic became like the gang leader, and I was like, that's not Justice. Like I was imagining Justice's face, and I was like, that's not what the fuck he looks like. Wait, when did he become the gang leader? What the fuck are they talking about? Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is happening? What is going on? Yeah, but that was just something that my brain couldn't wrap itself around. But I also didn't sell 7 billion copies of an album. So I'm not going to act like I know better than 50 Cent. I'm just saying that it was fascinating being like, whoa, he doesn't give a fuck. But
it's also that's his attitude is like, I don't fucking care.
Exactly.
I'm just better than you.
I think that's right. Dude, I wrote, he's confidence incarnate. I honestly think all of 50 Cent's career is confidence, like, and not in a bad way. That's like, I don't think. Oh no, like it. It's not that he's not talented or anything. It's just that he's too confident to lose at something. His talent, yes.
Yeah, it's way stronger. The dude got shot 9 times, and
Yeah.
Not only that, was still able to rap afterwards, and one of the times he was shot in the mouth. Like,
Because some of the lines he even wrote, which again, the 90s into early 2000s, it was a different time. We had different rappers. It's fine. But if you approached me with some of the lines that he wrote, I would have told you to kind of workshop them a little bit. But you know what? He went off the dome. And that's the thing, too, is like, I can appreciate a lot of this stuff feels like it was written, but it feels like stuff that just comes like straight from him. He's just like, I'm just spitting this. You know what I mean? Which is a whole other thing. But yeah, I'm not trying to hate on 50 Cent or anything like that. It's like the movie does his music a disservice, where 8 Mile makes me look at Eminem's music and go, wow, I can see this in a certain light and be like, oh, even if it's not 100% true, 50 Cent's music makes me look, or this movie makes me look at 50 Cent's music and be like, how did he pull this off? How is the music this good when this is like, what? Like, it's weird. I know you don't agree with me, but and
again, I think he's got a really good rap cadence, and it's just one of those, like, when you hear it, you know it's 50 Cent. Like, there's not a lot of rappers that you're like, oh, is this so and so? Oh no, it's so and so. It's like, oh, this is a 50 Cent song.
Yeah, and maybe this is the thing where it kind of leans into the part where I think maybe 50 Cent represents more of a time where hip hop was literally like a political movement in a sense, where like the words that they were saying had power amongst their community, like the mixtapes and stuff.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know, where it's not about being Drake. It's not about being an awesome, like, well, likable and easily sellable voice. You're trying to get a point across. You have a message, like you were saying. He's trying to undermine Majestic in this movie, you know. And then in his real career, he was trying to undermine Ja Rule and all these other rappers that he considered, like, you know, under him and shit. And by doing that, it's kind of a representation of almost like poetry in hip hop, where it's like, it's like using words and art to like push a narrative of policy and change, and whether it's in your community or whether it's in like the greater scope of government or whatever it might be. For him, it's more communal. He's like, I want to make change in my community through my words. And like, that's literally like what poets did and like playwrights did. And it's like, he's like a modern retelling of like a poet, you know? But they want to be so hard that they can't be seen as that. So it's like, no, we're gangsters. And it's like, okay, well, but you're also like a voice or like a, but it's like, but we fucking kill people. And it's like, okay, but it's like, but we don't kill people unless we have to. And it's like, well, okay. Like what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? Like, what is your point? You know what I mean? Like,
and it's funny you say that, because I like how even early in the movie, when I don't know if it's early in the movie or a flashback later in the movie, but his mom looks at him and goes, "You're a poet." And they
oh, you're right,
do mention that, like, they were, his character is considered to be, you're a poet. You have a way that you can just speak with music. Yeah.
Which again, I wish they would have done more. They just didn't. There should have been little moments throughout the movie where his music, like, he releases a little. I don't know. Maybe it didn't tie. Maybe it's because he didn't do that in his real life, so they couldn't do that. But I don't know. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that disconnect of the music thing was a little wrong. But no, that makes sense. Also, who was releasing the music? That was the thing, like, because there's a part where they're in the studio after he gets out of prison, and he's recording, and he gets approached by a contract from Majestic and Dangerous. And he denies it. But it's already established that people are hearing his music, and that Majestic and all this are hearing his music. Are these just mixtapes on the street?
Yeah, because he's giving out. There's a few different scenes where they show them, like, making CDs and even like vinyls.
Well, they did that later in the movie. Yeah, because I think this is when, like, earlier in the movie they haven't established that yet. So I was a little bit like, Well, how are they like getting this
Yeah.
music out there?
That's my assumption, especially because it was mixtapes. There was like the whole era of like selling CDs and even actual cassettes out of your trunk. Like people were just burning
Yeah.
them themselves. They showed it, and they did show even from a young age. He understood recording. Like it was obviously just a small little tape recorder.
Oh, dude, I had such nostalgia for that because I literally had a boombox at my grandparents' house that had a recording function that I would record over the cassette tapes with my acoustic guitar and my voice and like try to do takes and like so that like hit me at a core. I was like, "Oh my God, I've been sitting in my grandparents' living room with a tiny microphone going, and I'm about to like trying to do a song.
I'm about to kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, bitches and hoes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I that hit me a little bit deeper. I was like that, and especially it did a good job during that beginning where I was like, again, like that's why I'm annoyed because at the beginning I was like, man, he does feel like he's passionate about music. He's staying up late, 3 a.m. when his mom comes down. It's 3 a.m.
I related to that one super hard.
Dude, I literally out loud, I was like, same, been there. I know that. But then that never happens again. He's never up until 3 a.m. writing music. And it's like, ow, God, this movie isn't about music.
That's fair.
They couldn't, well, okay, that's another thing I noted. They couldn't get a record deal because they were blacklisted. So it's made very clear that they cannot get a record deal, which kind of fed more into my question of like, well, then how are people hearing their music? But again, more likely street interactions, CDs, cassettes, things like that. I'm assuming.
They probably because they show it later on in the movie, but you're right. Like early on, they don't show it. But I think just knowing his come up, a lot of that mixtapes, a lot of that was going to be just him recording himself and probably doing that.
Which again is like that my take on them not caring about the music part, because it's like that's something that's interesting. How are you getting the music to these people? Are you selling? And they only show it for that one little part after it's already been established that he's been getting music to people. But all right, so we'll kind of wrap this up here. We won't talk about this too long. We've already been talking about the movie for an hour. But I didn't understand the conflict between his wife and or girlfriend. They never got married. His girlfriend and him when his jaw is wired shut, and she just kind of like decides that this is too much.
So watching this again, I got kind of confused, and I should have looked this up. But what I think was happening in that scene is, and I was even thinking, I'm like, oh, it's weird, he's giving himself shots. I'm wondering if that was like a really heavy duty drug that maybe wasn't prescribed by a hospital that he was using for the pain, and he was kind of just like giving into like I've been shot. I'm just taking drugs for pain. And she's like, you're weak, but weak in the sense of you are such a confident person. You get through everything. I don't know this person who's kind of giving up.
That's why, so weird.
That would make sense for why he then crushed it all up, where he's like, I don't need this. I'm not going to use this drug.
I just feel like they should have had her say, like, the doctor said you were fine 3 weeks ago. You know, or like they never made, because all I saw was a girl manipulate him into stop taking his medication that he needs to take and rip out his jaw things that he needs in his mouth to then what that. If they made it clear that he doesn't need these things anymore and that he's only using them as a crutch to explain like why he doesn't have to like, you know, progress, like, oh well, I can just live in this world of that would make sense. But they don't do that. They literally just have him get shot 9 times, which happens in real life. Shot 9 times. And then like a week later, his girlfriend's like, you know, you're kind of being a dick. You're really not doing anything around the house. Is this our life? And I'm like, is there not such a thing as recovery? Like, what the fuck
Like-
are you talking about? Like,
He got shot 9 times.
dude, like if I was shot 9 times and a week later your partner's like, I just feel like you're not doing enough, and I'd
Is
be
this
like,
the rest of our life now?
and your mouth is fucking so
Wired
shut.
shut.
And she's like, say something, fucking say something. And he's like, what?
Yeah, I think there's a way to make sense of that scene, but the way the movie portrays it, it's not clear. Like,
Dude,
it doesn't say like, oh, heroin on the vial or anything that goes like, okay,
It's not
this is something that
drugs.
he's taking. Yeah, and
Oh,
because
man.
again, then once we get to like him realizing, oh no, I got this. The montage of he's working out now, and then it's like, oh, I like the pain in your voice. I'm like, yeah, this is all back on
It
track.
started to
But-
get back. Yeah.
That is honestly the 9 out of 10 is because rewatching that portion, I was like, okay, I can rationalize this. And again, if we're judging this on like it as a movie, like
Yeah.
not like, okay, how close were they at depicting his life,
which we still don't know. I have no idea what his
we
real
still
life
don't
was.
entirely know. But that scene, I had to like try to figure out, okay, if maybe this is what's happening. I'm like, okay, so that could have been clearer, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, which, okay, kind of feeds into me thinking that the movie never wanted to make 50 Cent a bad person ever. Because I feel like that would only make sense if he became like a drug addict. Like you were saying, like if he was addicted to the heroin or the morphine or something that they were giving him that he didn't need anymore. But they were too afraid to make him look like a drug addict. You have to come out of the movie going, man, 50 Cent is such a good person. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Because, okay, that was even something that bothered me during the robbery scene. They're literally robbing people, holding guns to people's faces, saying, fuck you, bitch, give me the fucking money. But then he can look at the kid and like wink at him as if like, this is all, don't worry. This is just a coy little joke. Don't worry. I'm actually cool. No, dude, you are doing the thing. You're still robbing and holding guns to people. Like, you can't act like you're cool in this situation. Like, that's the only thing that bothers me about this movie a bit. Where it's like, they try to make 50 Cent's life feel like awesome. Where it's like, oh yeah, well, if you just had the right mindset during this life, it's pretty sweet. Like, if you're just, it's almost if he was smarter than the situation he's in. And not that he isn't. I'm just saying, like, for the robbery scene, to have that moment where he looks at the kid and he's like winking at him, like, hey, we're not going to hurt you. Don't worry. That's an implication that, like, he actually has control over the situation and actually isn't going to hurt anyone. But that's not made clear or true at all. Like, he shot multiple Colombians before and he almost murdered one, but the only thing that stopped him was him calling out for his mama, which is kind of comedic in a way, but also I did understand. I was kind of like, okay, I like that moment. That's not bad. But do you know what I mean?
will say though, he was, at least how it's portrayed, it didn't seem like he wanted to hurt innocents. Like, if you weren't involved, he's like, I don't want to kill you.
But what's the line? You know what I mean? Like,
Murder.
what? No, not the line. No, not the line of him. I'm saying, what's the line of innocence? What is the line of someone that he's willing to kill and shoot, and someone that he's not willing to kill and shoot? Because they're acting like that's a very black and white line, but it's not. It's not. I mean, it's so gray.
Because I'm trying to think. The only people he shot were the ones that were involved in paralyzing his friend.
But he's directly involved with all the people that shoot other people. I don't want to discredit that he can act he can act like he's not involved in his gang shootings. But he is directly involved in all the things that these other people do. Even at the very end of the movie, where they try to make like a very heroic moment where he doesn't shoot the guy, it's made very clear that Bama is going to shoot the guy. So it's like, he didn't have to. So it's like, was that actually a moral choice, or was it more of like, well, for my image, I'm not, that's what it felt like, is like, for my image, I'm not going to shoot you, but my buddy here, he's going to fucking kill you.
So that's one part where, looking up more in the movie about like who represented who, there is someone that they say is believed to kind of correlate to the Majestic person, and it's an actual person, and I don't think he died. So I think that end part where like bam, because you hear the gunshots.
It was traumatized.
I think that was.
Oh, they show his dead body. Because even after they come back,
that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I could see that being dramatized for the situation, but again, that it's the thing where they're trying to make him seem like a forgiving character, but also being a hardcore gangster. I mean, it's like you were saying, it's like the movie tricked you into agreeing with this character, right? Because it's like you were saying, like with the Saltburn and stuff like that, where it's like, why the fuck would I ever relate to this character? It's like this movie did the very few things to like trick you into thinking that this is a good character. Like, oh well, he didn't shoot that guy, and he didn't, because like for example, like if he had shot that Colombian in the head, like if the Colombian didn't scream mama and then he shot him in the head, do you think that would have changed the trajectory of like how you viewed his character?
I think because that guy, I think, is the guy that shot his friend, right? I think
that paralyzed him. Yeah.
I think because of like, it's almost like if you're engaging in that kind of gang war, like for this movie, both sides understand what they're getting into. It's kind of like if you join the military, there's a chance that other side's going to kill you. Like you join the military already knowing that. I think at that point, it kind of what you said, like those people are not all innocent. It is what it is. If he had like, if they showed like he had killed like that kid or something like that, I'd be like, whoa. But I think because
it
was
is
like
someone's kid, and that's kind of the point they were trying to make, where he screams "mama," and then he realizes.
And I think that's when he starts to connect it, and that's why he can't do it. And so he's like, all right, well, I'll take your ability to walk then.
Yeah. Which is a 1-for-1, you paralyzed my friend, I paralyzed you. Makes more sense.
Yeah.
You know, I do agree with that. I thought it was interesting that like this feels like a movie where it's like a character, it's like we were saying, it's almost a Joker-esque movie where the character is a flawed main character who's meant to be like a gangster and meant to be like a fucked up, like a taxi driver type of thing. But they want to make sure that you don't think he's too bad, because if they did, well, then they won't sell. He won't sell albums because he's a bad person. So it's like he still has to be a good person. So he has to be a gangster that doesn't murder people. And like I don't know, it felt like
he's got a code.
It's where I felt like it felt fictional, where it's like that's cute, but it's not accurate. You can't. Like you couldn't live by that. It's like you were saying, like if you were to get into the gang lifestyle, you know, that's what it is. So it's like, but he keeps trying to promote like, oh yeah, I'm a gangster, but I don't kill people. And it's like, that's like saying I'm a soldier, but I don't kill people. You know, it's like, what do you mean? Like, no, there is no way that you're owning your territory and fighting for your territory without it ending in these certain ways because of the ways that have been throughout history. You know?
Yep.
But again, at the end of the movie, he's no longer a gangster. He's a gangster rapper. Yep. You know?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't know. My last note is 7 Mile.
Wow. Are you proud of that one? You were so proud. When you wrote that, you're like, oh my God, this is actually really funny. I don't know. I think this is pretty, I actually think this is, this is good.
It is pretty good though.
You're proud of that.
7 Mile? That's what they should have called it.
Get out of here. Get out. You're done.
Oh, God. Anyway. Okay. Are we going to give our final ratings then? Are we all?
Yep, I think because again, it's to talk about the movie and go in order of like seeds and stuff.
Oh, we're long
I feel,
past that. We're out that
yeah,
way.
it,
Yeah.
but even like for this movie, right? It's about someone who like is very popularly known. Even if people haven't seen this movie, almost everyone knows. Oh, 50 Cent got shot 9 times. You know, it kind of rags to riches story.
I'll pretend I knew that. Yeah, I knew he got shot. I knew he got shot. I didn't know he got shot 9 times and survived. I didn't know the
really?
extent of it. Yeah. I also didn't know what's up with rappers rapping through the wire jaw. Like, what is that like a thing in the early 2000s with Kanye, who rapped through his wire shut jaw? We had 50 Cent.
You know what I think it's
who
kind
rapped
of
through
like,
his wire shut jaw.
I think it's one of those. It's kind of like Kobe playing on a torn Achilles. It's like I am so good, nothing can stop me.
And not only that, but the association. It's like, well, if you grew up in this lifestyle, you're gonna end up with a wire shut jaw. So, the likelihood of someone. It's just so crazy how there's 2 rap albums that have a rapper coming up, rapping through a wire shut jaw. That's just really interesting. That's all I'm gonna say.
And the only thing that I thought was interesting as well, that I think this movie took a bit of a creative, which it's not like a big detail, but it's because it correlates to a line from what I think is one of the hardest lines in a rap song. In the song Many Men by 50 Cent, the chorus is like, many men wish death upon me. Talking about like, oh, when he got shot, blood in my eyes, dog, I can't see. There's a line where he goes, now I know I'm here for a real reason, because he got hit like I got hit, but he ain't fucking breathing. And I was like, oh
that's
my
good.
God, that is such a crazy fucking line when you've been shot 9 times.
That shit's nuts. I did notice that too, because I was in the documentary I watched and I was like, oh damn, that hits harder. The only thing that makes this movie ruin some of his lyrics is that some of his lyrics call out other rappers for never killing people. And it's like, wasn't your whole movie about how you never killed anyone? Like, cause like, I think he has a whole Ja Rule like chorus where he's like, murder, I don't believe y'all. Murder, I ain't believe that shit. And like, and it's like, you're calling out other rappers for not actually killing people, but you've never actually killed anyone. Like, I that just seems weird. Maybe it's because he never bragged about killing people.
Oh, that's maybe that's it.
Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That could be it.
Interesting.
I just found that ironic. I was like, well, that's kind of funny. Like the whole point of the movie. But all right. Yeah, let's give our final ratings here for Get Rich or Die Trying.
Tyler,
what did you land on?
Finishing with?
Oh,
I finished on a 9.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still going to stay at a 6.
Okay.
I can't, yeah, it's like right down the middle of 6 too. It doesn't lean towards any way. Because I really enjoyed some of the character interactions, the kind of film tone that it had, the vibe. I liked the coming of age story it had going in the beginning. But once it started to hit his later career, it lost me a little bit. And I just didn't, the connection between his rap and the gangster stuff and like how that intermingled with like, it just lost me a little bit. But yeah, I mean a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. All right. So it's my turn to suggest.
Lay it on me.
All right.
Les Miserables.
So this week, my friend, we are going to watch Get Out.
Ooh, very excited.
It is
very excited.
Modern classic, if I do say so myself. Jordan Peele produced and written from Key and Peele fame.
And I know there's no way that I'm going to hate this movie the way I have not enjoyed the last 2 movies you've recommended.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I don't know, because honestly, the way you reacted to those movies, there's a chance you may come out of this being like, It was okay.
Interesting.
I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. I we'll see. We'll see. I'm very interested to see how you react to this movie because
All right, because I swear to God, you're gonna have to watch like I might make you watch Dice Road Part One.
There's no way you'll hate it. I don't think it's possible that you'll
I'm just
hate this
kidding.
movie, but
Yeah.
there may be a chance that you're like, it was up its own ass or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, gotcha.
who knows? But I think you'll get it. I think you, especially
All
with
right.
with the theme we've been on, which I don't mean to. Okay, I'm gonna point something out. Have you noticed that we've now watched Soul Plane and Get Rich or Die Trying during Black History Month?
I did it, but I like it. Fuck
and now,
yeah.
And now we're watching Get Out. So you know what? Apparently, we inadvertently leaned into this.
Which is funny that we talked about like adding things into media like Fortnite in the last episode.
Oh my God, you're totally right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. We're right on the cusp of fucking media and entertainment,
Something.
man. Yeah. But all right, guys, thank you for watching. If you don't want to be spoiled for next week's episode, make sure to watch Get Out for our next episode. Mitchell, got anything you want to say to the beautiful people?
New music, it's coming. Be on the lookout.
That's
Young
right.
Caesar.
2 new songs coming out from Young Caesar. Tsuku. Tsuku. Don't look up Young Caesar. You won't find.
Know who it is?
You won't find Young Caesar.
Do you want to tell where they could follow us?
Absolutely. You can follow us over on Discord. You could join us in the links in the description, as well as Reddit r/Neon Valley Pod. You can support us over on Patreon. You'll get a little extra tidbits as well as some episodes early every now and then. Thank you guys again, and watch out for those Vegas Gators because they've been biting lately.
Oh my God! I told you I saw one the other day, right?
Where at?
It was off St. Rose. I was coming back from one of my doctor's appointments, and I'm just like, holy fuck, they're already out here. It is.
Well,
be careful if you.
They're getting further away from water sources, which is concerning. It's like
because I don't know where they're heading to. Like, I don't know what their goal is.
I thought the whole point of gators was that they stay in the water. So like Lake Mead, where they usually reside. I
know. Like everybody knows there's gators in Lake Mead, but like to come this far into the valley, it's like a 40-minute drive. I don't even know. I think somebody might be bringing them there. That is my theory on it.
That makes sense. There was that guy who was bringing sharks into like a local lake, not in Vegas, but this happened somewhere.
Oh yeah, like if he's dumping them in like sewers, then maybe that's another way they're. Although I don't know if he's bringing them, dumping them in sewers, then them getting out. So if you're in Vegas, just be careful for the alligators.
Yeah, well, not just the alligators you weren't already worried about. Like, of course, you were already worried about.
Oh
the Lake
yeah,
Mead
no, the
gators.
ones that are now coming into the valley because that is what's new.
Fucking
you
insane.
knew they were at Lake Mead, but
I don't know
this
what's
far
happening.
up, this is.
Are
Weird.
they gonna still be able to have the Super Bowl with this gator problem?
Oh, I mean, they're actually going into the sewers to kick homeless people out near the strip. So I'm sure if there's any gators, they're gonna absolutely make sure they're nowhere near the strip. I don't know if they really care.
That's so fucked up. I didn't know
Dude,
that's a
it
true
is.
thing that happened.
Oh, that's it is.
Okay,
It's-
now we
it's-
actually have to end the episode because I'm sad. All right, watch out for them gators, folks. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
How did you? Oh God,
Fucking leaves.
I hit the wrong thing.